For all the complaining that the left did when Donald Trump was president about him being an embarrassment to the United States on the world stage, they sure are quiet while Joe Biden is out blundering his way around international diplomacy. With his penchant for making off-the-cuff remarks, Biden has been no stranger to controversial comments during his 50-year political career. In 2018, Biden himself admitted that he was a, quote, gaffe machine. So why should we expect his presidency to be any different? From comments about Putin remaining in power to seemingly changing the United States' long-standing position on Taiwan, his comments continue to cause grief for his staff who have to continually clean up his messes. It isn't just his proclivity for saying the wrong thing at the wrong time, or just the wrong thing.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to
But his uncanny ability to do the wrong thing at the wrong time. You know, like shake hands with people who aren't there.
God bless you all.
Or fall asleep in meetings. Or, in this case, showing up late to the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, having to wait for a procession of George and Victoria cross holders to go ahead of him, and then being seated in the 14th row behind the President of Poland as a result of his tardiness. JP with Political Pop Culture, and this is my take. President Joe Biden embarrassed himself and the United States by arriving late to Queen Elizabeth's funeral. This is just the latest in an apparently non-stop collection of goofs, gaffes, and blunders by the increasingly incoherent and incompetent Biden. This is, of course, after he made a fool of himself having to use a cue card to sign the condolence book, while other world leaders, including monarchs such as the King and Queen of Spain, traveled together on buses to St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle. President Biden was given dispensation to instead arrive in the Beast, his specially designed armored limousine, which was flown in with him for the task. You know what else is specially designed? That like button is specially designed for you to click on it. No, really, if you like this video, if you like the content that we produce for you every day, give us a like, and then click on the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That way, you'll be the first to know every time we upload new content just like this. You'll also be helping out the channel by telling the algorithm to show this video to other people who might be interested. Every little bit really does help, so thank you. While it isn't unusual for the president to travel with the Beast, in this case, he would have been better off sticking with the script so as not to disrupt a ceremony which was highly choreographed and was unable to be disrupted for Biden's tardiness. Biden's late arrival was a direct result of the decision to take his own limousine instead of the buses other leaders used, and was due in part to the crush of people lining the route to Windsor. Now, I can't speak for anybody else, but I for one am tired of hearing the Ministry of Propaganda in the mainstream media talk about what an amazing leader Biden is, while at the same time watching him offend and alienate our friends and allies across the globe. Stephen Maturo, Secretary General, Consumers Federation of Kenya, scalded Biden in a tweet saying, quote, "Those fuming at African presidents using bus should have read the Times on September 12. It was blunt. President Biden will have dispensation to take his armored beast to Westminster Abbey for Queen's funeral, while lesser world leaders will have to make do with a shared bus." The article he's referring to in the Times, seen here, literally says that Biden will be able to take the beast to the Queen's funeral, while lesser world leaders will have to make do with a shared bus. I wonder why that upset people. Look, the president of the US is often regarded as the most powerful man in the world, but the reality here is that there are a lot of other fish in that world leader pond, and stunts like this go a long way in turning their opinions against the United States. Just imagine for a moment if this same article replaced the word Biden with the word Trump. The US press corps, the Ministry of Propaganda for the Democratic Party, would be up in arms, screeching at the top of their lungs about what an embarrassment Trump is. about how he's making us look foolish on the world stage, how his selfish actions nearly caused a disruption in the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II, one of the most respected monarchs in all of history. But instead, it's radio silence, with the media covering up once again for the ineptness of the Biden administration. So why would the decision to use the beast and to travel alone versus in the company of other leaders be made when, from all outward appearances, it was completely unnecessary? Well, if I had to guess, I'd say it's because they wanted to keep Biden away from other world leaders as much as possible, especially in a setting where Biden would be in close quarters with other leaders for a long enough period of time to allow him to say something stupid or make a fool of himself. It's also likely his handlers hoped that the familiar surroundings of his own private limousine may keep him focused long enough to prevent him from being overly confused by the trip. The bottom line is that President Biden is demonstrating over and over again, in his words and in his actions, that he is just not up for the job of being President of the United States. 2024 can't come fast enough, because this clown is making us all look bad. That's my take. What's your take? You can let me know your take in the comments below. You can also let me know your take by joining the cult at PolPopCult on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Rumble, and Truth Social. Thank you for listening.